Wagwan people, how's it going? So I'm going to do a little podcast about a very good friend of mine. He's not in this country anymore. He's actually in Australia. He might even be watching, hopefully. His name is Eddy Bates. Grew up with him. I was on Mary's Mead. He was on Rouse Retreat, which is just up the road from where I lived. Basically, like, if I remember rightly, I think Ollie was about 9. Eddie would have been about 13 when they moved onto Rouse Retreat, something like that. About 8 and 12, something around that age. And I was actually mates with Ollie because we went to the same middle school. And then as we grew up, I then become mates with Eddie. Here's a couple of stories about Eddie. So Eddie was a DJ. He was a really good DJ. He used to do drum and bass, jungle, house and garage. He used to get all the garage tunes before they come out, like all the house tunes, all the jungle. He used to work in London when he was around 17, and he used to go to like Black Market Records. I don't even know if that's there anymore. He used to get all the white labels. He used to know a bouncer called Simon at his work, and this guy used to get him all the like white label stuff, all the like stuff that you couldn't get hold of this. Like, and Eddie used to ring me up when he finished work. I was about 15. Eddie was 17. Eddie would ring me up and be like, "Yeah, Dugan, I just got a load of records. Come round mine." So we'd go around to his. He had the old Technic 1210s, which were like 1,700 quid back then, and like Concord needles, which were around 75 to £100 per needle. And then you had the Sennheiser headphones. He had the Sennheiser headphones, which were like indestructible. He used to drive his mum up the wall by literally, we were sat in his room all the time, he was mixing all the time. I remember one time his mum had been working late, and he's got his drum and bass blaring out, and she's walked into his bedroom. She swung the door open, and the decks were quite close to the door, and the doors hit the decks. There was a bit of wood leaning up against the where the decks was sat on top of. This bit of wood has come crashing down on top of the decks and the Concord needles, and Eddie's face, he went pale white. He was so, obviously, like, how it didn't break these decks and needles, I don't know, but it just shows how indestructible these things were, really. That's where a lot of my love for music come from, was Eddie, especially dance music. Hip-hop as well. Eddie showed me a lot of hip-hop when he used to come back from boarding school. He used to have all mixtapes and stuff like that, and he'd be showing me and Ollie. I remember... So when I first met Eddie, he was in his mum's garage, skinning up, and I walked in. He didn't realise that I was smoking at the time. I was like 14, 15, something. I was about 14. I've walked in, and he's there, and he's like, hit it all, and then all of a sudden I'm like, "Oh, what are you doing? You rolling up?" And he was like, "Oh, yeah, oh, do you smoke?" And I was like, "Yeah," and he says, "Oh, join me then." And then that's when we started smoking together. In fact, Eddie actually taught me how to skin up. This was a long time ago. This was like over 25 years ago. Eddie, me, Ollie, Chris Calver, a few other people, we used to go and sit in the fields behind his house, smoking, just chilling. My old man was a air traffic controller, and he used to get these things called luncheon vouchers because he worked at Heathrow. So instead of buying his lunch every day, the National Air Traffic Control Services used to give him a booklet of vouchers, but he didn't really do takeaways, so he used to give them to me. And there's a Chinese shop up at the crossroads. It's still there, but it's not the same Chinese shop, I don't believe. It's opposite the Esso garage type thing, and they used to accept luncheon vouchers. So my old man would give me like 20, 25 quid's worth of vouchers. Well, back in 95, 96, that was a lot of money. Like, a chicken chow mein was probably going to cost you about £3, £3.50, and a portion of chips was about 80p, 70p. So we'd all go around Eddie's, maybe get some beers, smoke a bit of hash, and then we'd wander off up to the Chinese and then go and get our chicken chow mein, and they did the best chicken chow mein ever. Also, Eddie's mum, she was a DJ for a radio station. She worked on a couple of radio stations, and she used to get so she got Dr. Dre 2001 album. Before it come out, she got a promo CD, and it had 5 tracks on it from the album, and she's given it to Eddie, and then Eddie's shown us lot, and we were like, whoa, this is coming out soon, this is amazing, this was literally like the best CD ever. And then Eddie went and showed it around to loads of people in hazlemere, and they all going, oh, this is crap, this is crap. And then literally the album dropped, and all them people that said it was crap, they all went and bought it. It was the dopest album ever. I mean, it was a iconic album, that was. Yeah, I spent a lot of my childhood with Eddie, and also like my young adult. So like when I was like 18, 19, 20, I used to go clubbing and that with him to Camden Palace Peach. I was blessed enough because he moved to Australia. I think it was 2007 he moved to Australia, and he come over last year with his 2 daughters to go and see his youngest sister Eloise get married, and I got to hang out with him for 3 weeks last year during that heat wave, and his 2 daughters Bonnie and Willow. And yeah, it was a good 3 weeks. It was really good 3 weeks to actually like meet his daughters properly and get to see Eddie after such a long time and get to spend some quality time with him as well. And I saw Ollie Bates as well. You can see the song that he made for me. It's on this channel. It's one of the first videos I put up actually. So it's right down the bottom of the videos. Yeah, Eddie, like me and him, we used to hang around together a lot. We used to go to a lot of house parties. Like I said, music-wise, like he used to get some of the best tunes, the garage tunes that guy used to get. I'll tell you a little story here. He lived in Mayhew Crescent with Guy and Greg. And then when Guy and Greg lost the house, the landlord stored everything in the garage. And then the landlord said, I'll keep everything in the garage for you. So Eddie's like gone off. A couple of weeks later, he's come back to get his stuff. There's a skip out the front of the house. All his vinyl in the skip. All this garage, house, jungle, drum and bass. Literally devastating. Absolutely devastating. But yeah, that was just a quick couple of stories about Eddie. Oh, here's another. I'll tell you one more. So Eddie was working in London, and this is the story he told me. So I might not have this completely correct, but he used to get there early in the morning. And instead of having a shower at home and waking up his younger sisters and brothers and that, because there was 5 of them all together. There was Josh, Ollie, Chloe, Eloise, and then Eddie. So instead of waking them all up in the morning with a shower at like 5 in the morning, he used to get a train over to London. They had showers at his work, so he'd have a shower at work. He's walked out the shower, gone over to his bag where his clothes is, and he stepped on what he thought was a stone. So he's, you know, it's like you step on a bit of Lego or a stone or a plug or anything like that. It's painful. So he's picked up this, what he thought was a stone. He's about to throw it out the window. He's looked at it. It's a big block of hash. So obviously he's got home. He's rang me up. Dugan, come up. I found some hash. I've gone up there. It was like a queue. Yeah, big block of hash. Yeah. So we've gone up there. We were smoking this stuff for days. And it was banging hash. And then it was a Friday night, we were sat out the back of his. There used to be a log, and we had a little campfire on the go, sat there smoking. Eddie's got his gold packet of B&H. They were in a gold packet back in the day. He's literally used his last cigarette. He's got skinned up. He's thrown his cigarette box onto the fire. So we've obviously like just sat there. Then he's suddenly gone, oh, where's that last bit of hash that I had? Couldn't find it. Literally, we're there. We've got all our torches out, looking on the floor. You couldn't. It's in the woods at night time. You ain't gonna find it. Yeah. So anyway, the next day, me and Chris Prentice have gone up to the place to go and see if we could find it in the morning. So we've gone up to where the fire was, and we're looking around, and Chris has seen the cigarette box just on the edge of the fire, but it's burnt to crisp. So he's sort of got a stick, and he's hit the cigarette box, it's disintegrated, and then looked at the bottom, and there was this little bit of black charcoal. He broke it open, and in the middle of it was a tiny bit of green. Eddie had put the hash in the cigarette box, thrown it into the fire, destroyed the rest of the hash. Gutted, but there you go. A couple of stories there, little stories about Eddie, growing up with Eddie. Yeah, he was my best mate. He still is my best mate. Still speak to him to this day, even though he's in Australia. Hopefully he's coming over next year, so I get to see him next year, which would be a great thing because it's always good to see him. Anyway, people, there you go. That's just a quick little podcast. Hope you enjoyed that. Please subscribe, like, share on your Facebooks, on your Instagram, whatever. Just share away for me, please. I really appreciate it. I hope everyone's having a good day. Sun's come out. Finally, like we get, this morning it was like raining, but like it seems to have got better as the days gone by. Anyway, people, peace. Much love to you all, and yeah, just stay tuned and I'll put up some more stories.